Van Jones was on CNN talking about the recent protests in Los Angeles. If you don't know about them, you should. There was a huge protest that turned violent outside of a Los Angeles synagogue on Sunday. It was in front of a synagogue, to be clear. That's Torah Synagogue in Los Angeles. Not because protesters wanted to protest the synagogue, not because protesters wanted to harm Jews. They were doing the protest there because there was a presentation being done, a real estate event being done by My Israel Home. If you don't know My Israel Home, it's a company that sells settlements in the West Bank. If you don't know, settlements in the West Bank are illegal. These aren't all in Area C. These aren't all inside of like Hebron in accordance with the Oslo Accords of 1993. Let's be clear about that. People are expanding settlements in the West Bank at the expense of Palestinian freedom, Palestinian self-determination, at the expense of any future possibility of that two-state solution that people keep pretending is going to happen. This is what was happening. And so people said, look, if in the middle of a genocidal war in Gaza, if in the middle of illegal settlement expansion in the West Bank, there is going to be a marketing event for settlements in the West Bank, we're going to protest it. Now, the protest got violent. The protest got a little ugly. There was pushback. There were police. There were everything, right? I'm not defending anything violent that happened at the protest, but let's be clear about what the protest was. But of course, CNN was not clear about what the protest was. CNN did the opposite of be clear. They, along with President Biden, who gave this ridiculous statement, and everybody else, they all made it seem as if people were out there just protesting synagogues. They made it seem as if people were just out there arguing with Jewish people. They made it seem as if this was an anti-Semitic march and not a march against settlements in the West Bank. This is what they did. And who pops up but Van Jones to double down on this ridiculousness? Listen to him on CNN when they asked him what he thought. I need y'all to listen to this because I was quite frustrated.
Unacceptable. As a father who's actually trying to raise my children in Los Angeles, I want to just applaud Mayor Bass, Governor Newsom, and President Biden for speaking up about this. Listen, if you don't like what's happening in Gaza, it's your right to protest. That's not a problem. But you protest a policy. You don't protest a people. When you protest a policy, you go to City Hall and you protest. You go to the Israeli consulate peacefully, you protest. Maybe you go to your elected representative, you protest. You don't bum rush a Jewish neighborhood and run up on a synagogue. That's not protesting a policy, that's protesting a people. And that is across any line in America, and it has to be called out. And you have to also understand the context here. This is a neighborhood that's already been traumatized. Not just October 7th, which traumatized all Jewish communities.
Oh, my Lord. Let's just pause here for a second for a couple of reasons. One, Van Jones, again, says something that on its face seems reasonable, right? You don't protest. You don't protest a people. You don't protest a people. Of course you don't. The problem is nobody was protesting the people. He just made it sound as if a people was being protested. He just lied and made it sound as if a people were being protested, or he didn't investigate the issue very much. But Van is too smart to be that dumb. Van looked it up. He knows better. But I also want y'all to look at, another slice of this, right? Which is the media work that's happening. Van Jones ain't doing this alone, right? When you look at this image, you see screaming Palestinians, you see Keffiyeh, you see flag, staring down the police, these menacing Arabs and pro-Arabs, these Arab lovers. You protest the policy, you don't protest the people. The people weren't being protested, Van. No one was marching against Jews. They were marching against Israeli settlements. And you know better. You know better. This is my frustration, because there was a time when Van spoke out against this stuff. Let's go back to Van's old clips. Let's go back to Van's old audio. Let's go back to Van's old music. Oh, now you get something different. He knows better, but he's willing to stand there and be useful to these people. There's more, though, because Van didn't stop there. If he had stopped there, I might not be so irritated.
But that neighborhood in particular, last year in February, not one, but two Jewish men, Orthodox Jewish men, were gunned down, were shot in two back-to-back hate crimes. So you're dealing with a community that's already traumatized, they're already fearful, and then you go and you do something like this. I have no problem with people protesting policy.
Repeating that stupid quote, right? Because I guess it tracks well. Now he's making a connection between peaceful protesters of an illegal policy. Remember, settlement in the West Bank is illegal. And people being gunned down, of course, Jewish people being gunned down is evil. Of course it's a crime. Of course it's disgusting. Of course we should march against that. If a Jewish person, Orthodox or not, is gunned down in LA, I'm gonna be in LA marching against the killing, standing with Jewish people. But to tie that to this is unseemly. How dare you tie a peaceful protest against policies that are killing tens, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Palestinians ultimately? How can you compare that to this evil act that some individual did against a Jewish person in Los Angeles? It isn't right. It's disgusting, but you know what you're doing. And then he brings up the P word.
You cannot protest a people. That is not a protest, that's a pogrom, and that has to stop.
Let's talk.
It's a pogrom, he said. That is a pogrom. He is now trying to suggest pogroms happened in Ukraine. Pogroms happened in Russia. Pogroms happened in Spain. Pogroms happened in Jerusalem. Pogroms happened in New York. There have been moments in history where Jewish people have been subjected to mass violence, mass intimidation, mass physical threats, where large amounts were wiped out. That is a pogrom. Marching in the streets against an illegal settlement, Van Jones, is not a pogrom. And for you to invoke that language at the same time that you invoke the image of people being gunned down in the street while talking about a peaceful protest is not just sloppy language. It is dishonest. It is dishonest. And I won't, you don't got to hear the whole interview, but there's this moment where he also says, well, you don't see Jews doing that at mosques. It's apples and oranges, Van. Of course you don't see Jews marching against mosques. Mosques are not responsible for what's happening in Gaza. If mosques were holding planning meetings to do physical harm to Jews or to do physical harm to the state of Israel, then you would be protesting mosques, if not more. And you should. But that's not happening at mosques. But these synagogues happen to be, this particular synagogue, I'm saying, not all synagogues, this particular synagogue and a couple of others have been ground zero for marketing of home sales in illegal settlements. That's why they're protesting. They're not protesting a religious ceremony. They're not protesting Jewish people. If those same home sales were in evangelical churches, which they will be, because a whole bunch of evangelical Christians want to go to the Holy Land or enable the sale of it, they should be protesting the churches too. If it happened in a mosque, they should protest there too. That's the point. It's not about that.
So you can agree or disagree, and what's going after people, human beings, terrifying moms, grandmas, children who are trying to be a part of a neighborhood. The Jewish neighborhoods in LA are well known. Nobody is confused where they are. So if you show up there wearing a keffiyeh, you show up there with your face covered, you show up there chanting "River to the Sea," that would be just like a white person running up with the Confederate flag in Harlem. You're not trying to start a conversation. You're trying to start a fight.
He just compared, this man just compared on Beyonce's internet, wearing a keffiyeh to being a Ku Klux Klan member. He's saying that the garb, the representative symbol of freedom for Palestinian liberation, is the same thing as a Klan suit. They're screaming "River to the Sea." Are you going to say saying "Free Palestine from River to the Sea" is like burning a cross to somebody's lawn? How dare you? Again, you know better. You know what river to the sea means, Van Jones. You've said it. Let me not say you've said it yourself. You have said before that there's nothing wrong with saying it. You said that to me. How dare you? How dare you now compare Keffiyeh to Ku Klux Klan clothing? How dare you? You know better. And you need to do better. You need to be better. This is inexcusable and disgusting. You have a right to believe what you want. But my frustration is that I don't think you believe it. Or you play dumb. You go to the rally in D.C. in the fall, standing with Israel, and they booed your ass. You know why they booed your ass? Because you said ceasefire. You thought you could play both ends against the middle. You thought you could thread that needle. You thought you could stand there and stand with the Zionist project that has dispossessed and dismantled Palestinian life and prosperity and safety for decades. And then you could just sneak in ceasefire and keep your liberal bona fides. But you can't do that. You got to pick a side. And Van has picked a side, but that side ain't freedom. That side ain't justice. That side ain't the people. So this is it for me. Y'all can have Van Jones, man. Y'all can have Van Jones. I'm so disturbed and disappointed. I'm not mad. I probably sound like I'm mad. I'm disappointed because I know Van. I consider Van a friend. And to hear him do this and to watch him do this in real time is almost heartbreaking. He's so talented. He's so smart. He's so capable. And to watch our brother choose this path, I can't explain it. I can't defend it.